En un mundo digital, las empresas buscan aliados confiables para navegar en la transformación. Kyndryl, líder global en servicios de infraestructura y tecnología, se encarga de diseñar, construir y gestionar sistemas digitales a nivel mundial. Con su liderazgo en el ámbito tecnológico, Kyndryl guía a más de 4.000 clientes en más de 60 países hacia la modernización de sus sistemas y servicios críticos. Esto es Norte Digital, la primera serie de entrevistas en México producida por Grupo Financiero Banorte, que marca el rumbo de la transformación digital.
Hola, bienvenidos. Hello, welcome. We are in New York City in the beautiful offices of Kyndryl with Eli Keenan, Group President of Kyndryl. Thank you very much, Eli, for receiving us here in your office in a beautiful but cloudy day in New York City. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Eli, tell us about your challenges and your experience. Well, your experience first, and then your challenges as the Group President of Kyndryl.
Well, Kyndryl spun out of IBM a little over two and a half years ago. So we had to, in a very short period of time, stand up, this business. We think of ourselves as a startup at scale, right? So we had to build a new culture, stand up a business. And what we do is, as you know, right, we do mission critical, systems, right? We support our customers' mission critical systems for the world's largest corporation. So we had to, spin out of IBM, build a new culture, and do it with no impact to the services we provide.
Coming from that spin-off, what are the transformation that you had to do with the organization? We will jump in the culture later on, but on the services that you provide, what were the main challenges on that transformation, on that specific transformation that you had to make?
Yeah, think about this. We're a $17 billion business with over 80,000 Kyndryls around the world. And we had to move to entirely new systems in 2 years. Now it's helping us because the fact that we did it for ourselves, our customers are interested in how we did it. In terms of our own services, we believe that the mission critical services that we can provide should be provided using a lot of technology, so technology-enabled, services. Shortly after the spin, and one of the most positive aspects of the spin from IBM was that we did spin out with great IP. We have over 3,000 patents, and we did have some really good technology-enabled services. These are, we branded it after the spin as Kyndryl Bridge. And this is a set of technology, a set of framework by how we deliver services. We've increased investment in this now, and I'll give you one example. So we were doing about 5 million of those, per month. Now we do over 100 million per month, which means that quality of service improves. It provides us a lot of efficiency. We can free up resources to do other activities that can't be automated.
Okay, and lessons learned that you can share with us in that process of rebuilding the company.
Yeah. So ours was, I would say, a big transformation, right? So lessons learned from the transformation, right? When you're spinning out something this big, yet trying to build a new culture. One is you have to prioritize. I mean, you can't do everything, so you've got to pick the things that are the most important. That was difficult. It took us some time, but we got there. We called it the 3 A's. We can talk about that, but the need to prioritize is really critical. We've already touched on culture, the need to build a new culture, and I would say I probably underestimated the power of building a new culture when we started, but that's really important. I think, communication is I think critical. Our CHRO told me about a year and a half ago that in order to get the message really out there, you've got to communicate it 27 times. She believes there's some science around this. I probably underestimated that as well at the beginning. And then finally, I think you have to celebrate, right? So transformations aren't easy. You sort of have to cross a river, right, when you're transforming. And I think you have to celebrate small wins and then bigger wins, et cetera, right? Successes and so on. So those, I think, are the 4 lessons learned for me, and that continues today for us.
Yeah. How does AI, in your experience and the services that Kyndryl is providing, is helping the companies to provide a better customer experience, obviously depending on the data quality? What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, so look, this is a big deal, right? And I would say for us, there's maybe 3 aspects to this, right? So first of all, I talked about Kyndryl Bridge as our technology, our core technology that enables us to deliver our mission critical services. Within Kyndryl Bridge, we've invested heavily in machine learning. I know Gen AI gets more of the press today, but this is a huge part of what we do. We're the largest infrastructure managed services provider in the world by far. We see we have more data about systems than anybody else. This allows us to leverage machine learning to see patterns and therefore build best practices. I would say the third aspect of it more broadly, look, and you know this very well, data is really key, right? If your data is not right, if it's not clean, if it's dispersed in separate silos, then whatever you do on top of that with AI is not optimal. So we also internally, but also help customers, with this problem, right? So we're a big user of AI, but we also help customers get ready to leverage AI in their businesses.
Yeah, and the other topic, Eli, cybersecurity.
Yeah.
How are you helping us your customers or the market to improve the services on cybersecurity? And obviously, it implies the data again. If it's how we manage the data on that part.
Yeah. So this is obviously an ongoing huge issue. It's only going to get tougher as the people attacking institutions get more sophisticated. We think about it as security, cybersecurity, and resiliency. So we see these 2 hand in hand. So we of course have services that help customers, see an attack, prevent an attack once there is one, to recover from it. So end to end. So incident response, but also recovery. I believe that we're unique in that capability. There are many companies out there that help you spot an attack, maybe stop it, but the recovery process is quite. It's the resiliency part of it. That's where we are, I think, exceptionally good.
Jumping to the culture thing, to the culture, because at the end, as you mentioned, we have, and we talk about data, we talk about processes, we talk about technology, tools, but everything lies on people. And people, it's based on culture, what they believe, how they behave. How you foster your people to be sure that they keep thinking on transform the company, giving a better service. How to keep pushing them on that side, on that.
I believe that culture is the ball game. If we don't get culture right, we won't succeed, right? So this is a huge, this is a big deal. And I would say when we started the journey, we did a lot of work to understand where we were from a cultural perspective, what we should maintain from our prior parent, and there were some things that people said, yeah, don't change that. The culture that we came from, I think, was very high integrity. It was a culture of learning, right? So really a culture of diversity, right? So there's some good things that folks said, don't change that. But then there was also some things that they wanted us to change. For example, more transparency, reduce the complexity of the matrix. We had a big matrix organization. As a result of that, we came up with a new model, how fundamentally we work. We called it flat, fast, and focused, right? And we called it RED, which is about being empathetic, being devoted, being restless, right? So it spells RED. And there was a long journey that took us to get to that. I would say essentially what we were trying to do is our prior parent was really a product company. So we were a services division within a product company. And now we're purely a services company. And a product company and a services company need a completely different way of working. And as I said, we ended up with RED and flat, fast, and focused, which has been a super interesting journey. We had to change some very specific things. I mean, I'll give you just one example. Delegation. In a product company, delegation is pretty high up in the company. In a services company, you need delegation to be low, right? So we wanted our teams to make decisions with customers. That worked out well. So in the first few months, customers said, "Wow, you're much more responsive." People, right? I think you felt it as well when we first met. When you're this flat, you got to collaborate more, as opposed to one person making a decision. You have to collaborate. Collaboration ultimately gets to better teaming. So folks had to really team better, more clarity.
Eli, your advice for people they are just about to leave the college, or they are starting a company, they are in the startup.
Right.
What will be your advice for those people, young people in that stages?
I would tell them that if they're given an opportunity from the company to take a new role, and the company needs them to do something, and it might be something that they're not sure about, take it. If you're given an opportunity, take it, right? I find that sometimes people try to think about, well, what would it mean? And is it the right thing for me? And is it the right time? And will I have to work a little harder? Or maybe I have to move, and do I want to move? And they overthink it. If you've got an opportunity, if a company is giving you an opportunity to learn, do it. And I can tell you from my experience, I was maybe 10 years in IBM, and I was given an opportunity to go to Singapore. And I wasn't the first guy that was offered the job, right? So there were others. I don't know where in the pecking order I was, but I know I wasn't the first one. And I didn't know anything about this business. It was at the time the hardware business. I didn't know anything about the business. I had been to Singapore, but I really didn't. This was for an ASEAN role, kind of a regional role. But I didn't know the geography super well. And I certainly didn't know any of the people there, right? Any of my colleagues there. So I didn't know anything. And I was living in Ohio at the time. I mean, it was clear across. I mean, you couldn't be any further away from Singapore. And I decided to do it. And I called my wife. We talked about it for I decided to do it, right? And I would say I learned a ton in that business. I mean, right? It was remarkable. And my family learned a lot, and it started us on a journey where it took us, I ended up living in 9 different countries around the world. It took us on an unbelievable journey, a life experience, but also a career.
Perfect. 2 very fast questions. Who do you admire in the tech industry?
Well, look, I mean, now, I think NVIDIA has done just an amazing job.
What's the most surprising innovation you remember from where you were a kid?
When I first interacted with a computer, this was like a Commodore, and I took a computer class and to start programming. And I don't know what the language was. Maybe it was BASIC, or I think it must have been BASIC. This opened a completely new world, right?
I will ask you to give us a question for our next guest, but let me first make you the question that our previous guest told us. He was David Garza. He's the president and rector of the Tecnológico de Monterrey, the major private university in Mexico. How do you think your role will change by 2030 due to AI?
Okay. Well, by 2030, I will be on the beach someplace.
But the role is going to change some way.
Yeah. Look, it's already changing, right? It's already changing. As you can imagine, in my role, there's so much information coming at me, right? There's so much data. There's so many decisions that have to be made using AI. And again, I talked about a couple of forms of AI, Gen AI and machine learning, to help me make better decisions is already starting. So for me, it's the ability to make much better decisions from the insight that I get. Some things I don't even have to worry about anymore that we used to worry about, because you don't even have to make a decision in certain areas. But others, the clarity, the insight is quite remarkable. And as I said, it's already started.
Your question. What question can you leave us for our next guest that we will receive in a month or so?
Look, I'm as I think you can tell. The cultural aspect is hugely interesting to me, and I'm always interested in how other companies are really driving change, and a lot of that has to do with culture. So, the question would be, given everything that's happening with AI and how disruptive it can be driving change, how are you getting your organization, ready for that and to embrace that change that's coming because of AI? That would be interesting for me.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Eli. Thanks for receiving us. Thanks for sharing your views, your vision, and all the concepts, and keep doing what you are doing, because it's being very successful.
Thank you for coming, and thank you for being such a great customer. Our team, they're out there today. They love serving Banorte. So thank you for being such a great customer.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Keep following us. We have learned today about technology, transformation, culture, prioritization, and some other things. Keep online. Thank you very much.